I am absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being and is going to pay.
What happens when a global music mogul loses control? Not backstage, not in private, but in a packed courtroom under oath. This isn't a movie, it's real. Sean Diddy Combs didn't just crack, he exploded. In front of a silent jury, stunned reporters, and his own legal team, the man once hailed as untouchable experienced a complete public meltdown. And the reason? A single post from Justin Bieber. Not vague, not symbolic, a clear betrayal.
That I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
And it could be the moment that destroyed Diddy's defense. Because this was no longer just celebrity gossip. This was the moment the courtroom witnessed the real him. Day 2 of the trial began like a thriller that hadn't reached its climax yet. Eerie calm, low tension, and everyone sensing something was coming. Diddy walked in, flanked by his elite legal team and dressed immaculately in a navy suit. He attempted to project power, but something in his eyes revealed a different story. He scanned the room as if he were expecting someone to jump out at him.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
2 security guards, unusually close, flanked his table. This wasn't protocol, it was preemptive. Then Cassie entered. No glitz, no flash. She wore a simple black dress with a white collar. Yet her presence changed the entire atmosphere. Her friends formed a wall around her. Not just support, but protection. Diddy had hired muscle. Cassie had loyalty. That visual alone set the tone. Then it dropped. Just before the judge entered, Diddy saw something on his phone that turned his entire world upside down. A post from Justin Bieber. Not vague support, not sending love. No, Justin got specific. He wrote about the things he personally witnessed.
Do you think the person that the you of then was on a path of self-destruction?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%, yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure.
Diddy grabbing Cassie's arm too hard at an after-party, cutting her off mid-sentence in interviews, speaking for her, and even silencing her. This wasn't hearsay. This was a first-hand account. And the photo? It was an old shot of Cassie and Justin at an awards show, both smiling. But if you looked closely, her eyes told a different story. The caption read, "I should have said something back then. I'm saying it now." The internet exploded. Courthouse staff whispered. Reporters stepped out mid-session, and even some jurors looked rattled. Bieber had just detonated a credibility bomb that would echo through the rest of the day.
Justin Bieber, he dropped the song. It went over our heads.
Which
it's actually
video?
about P. Diddy this whole time.
Which video?
The song Lonely came out and said stuff about how when he was younger, he was being taken advantage of, which is true. The problem was being a victim of the diddler. What happens? Because he has so much dirt on you, if you go out into the public, you may have video.
His lawyer tried to block the phone screen. Too late. Diddy had seen everything. Witnesses say his hands began to shake. He muttered under his breath, "After everything I did for that kid?" His jaw clenched. He kept fidgeting and couldn't sit still. His breathing grew heavy. A visible vein in his forehead started to pulse. His attorney leaned over and whispered, "Stay calm." Diddy shoved him off. Literally, the guy had to brace himself on the table to avoid falling. This wasn't a celebrity fuming over gossip. This was a man watching his defense evaporate in real time and losing control. Cassie took the stand. But this wasn't the same woman from day one. She stood tall, looked jurors directly in the eye, and began listing specifics.
Drika, how would you describe Cassie's demeanor when she took the stand today?
When she walked in there, Rachel, she had on a brown dress, form-fitting, visibly pregnant, head held high, and did not make any eye contact with the defendant, with Sean Combs.
Not vague emotions, but dates, locations, and text messages. March 8th, 2017, the Standard Hotel in New York. June 22nd, 2017, his house in Miami. September 12th, 2018, backstage at the VMAs. Every location matched earlier rumors. Then came the smoking gun. Hotel security footage showing Diddy pulling Cassie away from a male artist mid-conversation. Text messages were displayed on courtroom monitors. One read, "I need to know where you are every minute. That's the deal if you want to keep your career." And just when the room could barely process all that, she said the words that made Bieber's post a complete courtroom reality.
Where a key witness just testified in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. R&B singer and his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura took the stand today. Now, we have to warn you, the details in this case are very difficult to hear.
He told me even Justin knows what happens to people who cross me. Boom. That was it. Diddy slammed his hand on the table with such force that his water glass shattered on the floor. He stood up, not a slow, composed rise, an aggressive, "I'm done pretending" rise. "You know damn well that's not what happened," he shouted. "You're making this up, both of you." The courtroom froze. The judge banged his gavel 3 times. "Mr. Combs, sit down or be removed," he ordered. But he wasn't finished. He pointed directly at the monitor, which showed the messages between Bieber and Cassie. "Those are fake! He never said that." 2 bailiffs closed in. One unhooked something from his belt, not drawing it, but ready.
And we have more breaking news. Opening statements are underway in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial. Prosecutors claim Combs ran a criminal enterprise with his trusted inner circle and committed crime after crime for 20 years.
Diddy's lawyer attempted to physically restrain him, but he shoved the man off again. It required court security and a judge's threat of contempt to finally force him back into his seat. The courtroom emptied, the jury was escorted out, and the judge, he unleashed the fire. "Mr. Combs, this is a courtroom, not a music video. One more outburst and you'll finish this trial from a holding cell." He ordered a complete psychiatric evaluation. From that point forward, 2 officers were required to stay within arm's reach of Diddy at all times. His phone? Confiscated. Even conversations with his legal team had to take place in view of security. Back in session, the jury returned with new perspectives. They weren't viewing a legend anymore, they were staring at a liability.
Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucien Grange.
One juror shifted her chair slightly away. Another sat with his arms crossed, no longer taking notes. A third, the young man who had smiled at Diddy on day 1, now gazed at the floor. This wasn't just a public relations nightmare. It was personal. Because Justin Bieber wasn't just any witness, he was Diddy's little bro, his protege, the kid he paraded around as the future of music, the one he claimed to have mentored. Now? That same kid had ripped down the curtain, and worse, his credibility held weight. Bieber's post gave Cassie's story real-time validation. It also opened the door for others to speak up. Court officials confirmed it. Multiple new witnesses contacted prosecutors within hours of Bieber's post. This wasn't just one woman's word anymore, it was turning into a movement. The names whispered in courthouse hallways weren't minor. Usher, Jay-Z, and even producers linked to past scandals. Once someone like Justin breaks the silence, the floodgates open. Old footage, archived texts, unanswered rumors. Every piece is now being re-examined. And the connections, they're lining up fast. In the background, legal teams are scrambling, statements are being crafted, publicists are conducting emergency meetings. Everyone in Diddy's circle now faces one question: what do you know? And what occurs if your name surfaces next? Here's the truth. This case may already be over. Not legally, not yet, but emotionally for the jury. They watched a man explode in real time. They witnessed the rage, the threats, and the lack of control. And they observed a woman calmly, firmly standing her ground with receipts. When Justin Bieber took Cassie's side, it wasn't just a betrayal, it was a shift in power. The courtroom saw it, and the jury felt it, and the world, it's watching, waiting for who will speak up next. Because when someone as famous as that breaks the code of silence, Hollywood's walls don't just crack, they collapse.